And so I got around Mike, and when I saw the business, I started to see, wow, like you could have cash flow outside of your job, and that cash flow could get big enough that like you could live off that cash flow. Like, and if you lived off that cash flow, then you got options, right? I mean, you get a lot of choices that other people maybe don't have. And so I got excited about that concept in 2003 to 2004, but it took me till about 2007 to really start to understand how to unlock my mindset. It took me 3 or 4 years to unlock my mindset because I had a very fixed mindset. I had a very job mindset. I had a very make it happen mindset, but I didn't have a people first mindset. I didn't have that giving, that flow mindset that happens with a true entrepreneur. I had to develop that stuff. And so it wasn't until about 2007 that I would say that things really clicked for me. So it took me about 4 years. Like, we made some money for those 4 years in our business. We might made $500 a month for most of it, right? So we made some, but like I did not, there was a ceiling on what I was doing, not because of my effort, but my mindset. And it took me till about 2007 into 2008 where we had a lot of mindset changes on stuff. And it changed our income quite drastically in our business too. So that was probably the road for me early on. And then at that point, I started to really, by that point, I think I understood like, wow, this is a possibility. What can really happen, how you operate, you know, and not necessarily always needing a paycheck from somebody.
Right.
So it took me a little bit of time. I was no overnight success. You know, there was a journey in the beginning, and now we look back and it's so long ago that we feel like we've always been, you know, further along. But those first 3 or 4 years, just like anybody else, I had family giving me a hard time. I had people questioning what I was doing, why I was putting my time and effort into this.
A lot.
And it wasn't because they were against me. They just they had not seen people succeed, and so they were afraid I was wasting my time. And I had to know what I was doing, what I was about, what I was going. And what I've realized over time is that most people who put in a real effort to this business who don't succeed, they're unwilling to change their mindset. They're unwilling to, they want to succeed exactly with the same mindset they have right now.
It's not possible.
And if they already had the mindset, then they would already be successful, right? Then they wouldn't have been looking for us to begin with if they already had the mindset. And if they do already have the mindset and they decide to do this too, then they will be that overnight success. We have a couple in business with us up in Dallas, and they got in business, and 24 months in their business or less than that, they were 7,500 points. And everybody, they you know, Josh and Brittany, and he was a hospital administrator and she worked in marketing, and you know, they, you know, had a lot going for them in life, and you know, that first phase really was easy for them compared to other people, but it was because they did come in with the mindset, right? So it really depends on what people come in with, but I do find that a lot of people come in instead of starting at 0, a lot of people start at like a -5. They really come in with not only a blank mindset, they almost come in with a bad mindset. Like they're down on themselves. They don't believe in themselves. They don't know if they could talk to people. They're afraid of what everybody else says about them. They're worried about everybody's opinions. They don't know how to sort through what's true and what's just somebody's opinion. And they struggle with that. And that's what chews up a lot of people in the first 6 months, first 12 months of business, because they don't yet have a huge paycheck to show for something. And they're being questioned by people who, honestly, the other people think like employees. They don't think like they're creating cash flow. They don't think about what you talk about, ongoing income and that sort of thing. And it's fine, that you have to understand that people they don't have to understand, but you as a business owner have to be okay with being misunderstood, because the masses will misunderstand, not because they're bad people and not because what you're doing is bad, but just because they're not understanding for whatever reason. And you have to be okay loving and caring about those people, especially the ones close to you, even if they're critical of you or doubting of you. And that is something that is a journey that a lot of people struggle with. They get hung up on a family member who is hard on them or doesn't believe they can succeed. And then they spend so much time trying to prove that person wrong that they actually don't connect or relate to any of their. So